It was a day like 10,000 other days I'd had. I'd been an airline pilot for almost 30 years. And as an airline pilot, we work very hard to plan, to anticipate, to have alternatives for every course of action. We work hard never to be surprised by anything. And then we were suddenly confronted with the challenge of a lifetime. And it happened 100 seconds after takeoff. So we had, just as it turned out, 208 seconds from the time we hit the flock of Canada geese, the engines were damaged, and we lost thrust in both engines until we were in the Hudson River. And that was the best place to go. That was the least bad option. There was nowhere else in the entire New York metropolitan area that was long enough, wide enough, smooth enough to land an airliner. We couldn't make it to a runway. So I was very glad that we had that option. And that, of course, was a life-changing event for everyone on the airplane and their families. I remember vividly my first three thoughts. My first thought was, this can't be happening. You know, it's disbelief. After so many years of routine airline flying, to suddenly be confronted with this dire emergency was shocking. And that was followed immediately by, this doesn't happen to me. In other words, almost every flight I've had has been completely routine and unremarkable in every way. And then my third thought was more of a realization that unlike every other flight I'd had at that point for 42 years, for 20,000 hours in the air, this flight would probably not end on a runway with the aircraft undamaged. And I was okay with that, as long as I could still solve the problem. And I was confident that I could find a way to solve all the problems until they'd finally all been solved, even though we had never specifically anticipated or trained for this event. Even though in our flight simulators at the airline, it's not possible to practice a water landing. They aren't programmed to be able to do it. The only training we'd ever gotten for a water landing was a theoretical classroom discussion. Meeting them and spending time with them and their family members during their reunions absolutely made real what in abstract I knew. You know, it's amazing how many people are connected to the 155 people on the airplane. How many sons, daughters, wives, husbands, relatives, parents are involved. How much was saved. Had even one person not survived, it would have changed the nature of the event for me entirely. My definition of success was absolute, it was complete. And so I'm very, very grateful of what we achieved that day. He was a nice guy and easy to be around. And it was a very casual series of conversations over a number of hours. He had read the book, he liked the script, and he and I talked in some detail about what I was thinking and feeling and what my hopes for the movie were. And I told him I was very gratified that it was in such good hands and that so many people were working so hard to get it right. You know, and in fact, we were really amazed how many little details they asked us about. I mean, what kind of pen did you have in your pocket, or what kind of watch do you wear? What do your rings look like? Or, you know, what do you wear? What did you wear when you went to the interviews with the investigators for the first time? And they said, well, we have to have it be some way, so it might as well be the way it was. And that's been their attitude with everything. So I think it's going to look really good on screen. He came across as just what you see. I mean, somebody who was very at ease and a gifted filmmaker and storyteller and kind of a quiet guy and, you know, unassuming. And yeah, we seemed to have a good rapport, and he liked the stories I tell and how I told them. And he seemed to think that there was something there and really liked the script. And I was really impressed with what Todd had done to bring to life this whole story, especially in the aftermath, the NTSB investigation, which is a big part of the story that people don't know. You know, I know that he told me that when he first was handed the script, his first thought was, well, who's the antagonist? And then it became clear who the antagonist was, or what it was.